Superhero with a burn. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Like button, like button, like button. Depressed Sixers fan, what up? Young Reezy. Romp, we can hear you.
Oh, shit.
I forgot to mute Zoom. Superhero. Who else in the chat? McNugget. What a name. DW Firehearts. Run it back, Queen. DW. December's. Bubba 45. Hey, the Phillies got to take advantage of things like that, man. A homer, 2 on, no outs. And they get nothing else out of the inning. That's Phillies baseball for you, ladies and gentlemen. Where's my beat at? Press Sixers fan, I see it, man. I see it. Rasan Granderson, what's up? Mal Amazing. I think you're right, man. I think you're right. Run it back, nation. What is good on this? My water bottle's in the front of the screen. What is good on this Friday night? Let me know in the chat if you're simultaneously watching the Phillies game and listening to me and Romp complain about the Sixers being 0-2. Lucci Produce, what's up, man? Yeah. So, I don't even have an intro, I don't think. DraftKings link in the description. Bet $5, get $200 in free bets if your team wins. It's a no-brainer. Do that. Do that right now. Or wait till the show's over, then do it. This is official Romp. Sixers talk with Romp. What's up, Romp?
What's up? Embiid's washed. James Harden's back. I don't know, man. I feel pretty good.
This is
I'm not as down on the Sixers as many are. You know, it's the Celtics, it's the Bucks. I mean, two good opponents. We kept with them for a lot of the game. We had some very, very bad stretches, a lot because Embiid's out of shape. But there's a lot of stuff they could do to fix things up. But Doc Rivers is the head coach, so will they do the right things? Probably not. But I mean, I'm not pressing the panic button. If we lose to the Spurs, I think we press the panic button.
Is it if we lose? Yeah. Oh my God. That's definitely one of the questions that I wrote in my notes app. If they lose to the Spurs, volume is high. Volume is high. I'm not even in the red on here, man.
Is my volume high?
Nah, I mean sounds normal to me, but I'll go in my sound settings. Thank you guys for letting me know. I'll turn this down to. We'll put this down to 80 here. There we go. Sorry for the volume being high. Ever since my PC updated Windows 11 without my consent, it just jacked up all of my settings, and I don't know what I'm doing at all. Anyway, sorry for the excessively loud volume in the beginning. Yeah, this is not what I expected to start the season. It's weird. Like, I knew, obviously, it's the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. That's a tough way to start the season, but with all of the signings we made in the offseason, we just like kind of assumed that we were going to be on the tier with those teams. And I felt like we should have split at least 1-1 to start the season. But realistically, yeah, we got to look at it like those teams have been together for a long time. Those teams have had time. This team has not had time. We had an offseason, we had practice, we had training camp, but realistically, none of these players. They used to play together in Houston, but this team right now just played their first 2 games together out of an 82-game season. So yeah, and I respect the positivity, Romp. That's how I went. That's the first thing I said on a post-game live last night, is that I was just so happy with. I'm so happy with what James Harden looks like. It's almost like there's a bunch of other issues, definitely, but I think we're going to figure them out, but it's like I'm more happy about James Harden than I am upset about the other issues. And somebody in the chat before we got on here said Romp better praise Harden. Is that were you down on Harden at the end of the year? I don't remember. I was off Harden. I was Harden is washed. This guy gave up. This guy's a fraud. I was ripping into him after last season. So I'm praising Harden. What would you feel like at the end of the last season, and now what do you feel like when it comes to Harden?
I was concerned during the preseason. I mean, I just didn't think he could get downhill consistently. His 3-point shot is way better than it was before, which is huge. Like, just all aspects, his 3-point shot's way better. He looks quicker overall. But the thing that I was worried about from the preseason and from even the Boston game is just like him beating guys off the dribble. But yesterday, he did like a through the legs, and then he beat Wesley Matthews off the dribble. Like that's what I need from him. That's what was missing. And I still think what we're missing from Harden is one game he'll have his 3-point shot, but then he won't have his driving ability. Like yesterday, he had his driving ability in his mid-range game, but he was 1 for 7 from 3. For him to really, get back to Harden like he was in that third quarter or fourth quarter when we came back just because of Harden, I'm looking for him to be efficient from both aspects, because that's when the Sixers are really going to be a scary team, because we have really yet to get a game where Harden's hitting from 3, like efficiently, and then the mid-range, and then he's getting to the foul line. Like, it seems like it's always one thing is really good, but then the other's a little off. But even yesterday, like, he was killer, and I'm glad he's back, because I thought we would be asking a question, is Harden washed? But we're here asking a question, is Joel Embiid washed? So good for me.
Yeah, I think through like the middle of the summer, I started to believe what Harden was saying, and I think the one thing that made me believe it was his friend was quoted saying that James was embarrassed in the playoffs last season, and he doesn't like being embarrassed. And then I started to like think like this guy's been an all-star, pretty sure 10 times, right? Maybe 9. Uh, he's so used to being on top of his game. It's hard for somebody like that to just completely fall off, and especially when he's only 33 and he knows that he can get it back at least he can get it back 50%, 75%, that he's going to try to do that. If he was 40, then yeah, okay, I'm done, I need to retire. But so yeah, somebody that's been at the top of the basketball world their whole life, I just felt like he was going to put in the work in the offseason to try to get it back, and he did that, and I'm happy he did that. It turned out to be all legs, really, all legs. Conditioning, but the hamstring and all legs, and that's most of what a jump shot is. People say that, you ever play basketball for like way too many hours, and like the game that you shouldn't be playing anymore, and you can't make a shot because your legs are done. So yeah, he has elevation on his shot. He looks more vertical on his shot. He looks more confident with it. He's back to that James Harden, like when he's open, you almost know that it's going in. I didn't even realize he was 1 for 7 yesterday. I remember the one that he hit. I guess I don't really remember him missing 6 other ones. But that fourth quarter was all mid ranges. And I think you made a specific video not too long ago about James Harden, if he gets a mid range jumper or when he does, or floater. Yeah, I remember seeing the floater a little bit last year, and again, he wasn't really getting off the ground last year, so it really looked. His floater looked so weird last year. It was just like, it was so weird. It's like his feet were stuck to the ground, and he just kind of like knuckleball it up to the rim. And now he looks like he's getting elevation on the floater and getting it up over the rim. Dude, was James ever known for shooting a mid-range jump shot?
OKC he was, and then I got roasted in the comment section because I said he didn't shoot them in Harden, but supposedly he did early in his Houston career, but then once Mike D'Antoni got there, it changed. So he's always had it. He just kind of forgot about it because analytics. But I feel like yesterday was such a blessing in disguise for the Sixers, especially Embiid, because he was watching, prime Harden going off in the fourth quarter. And what people didn't notice, which I was surprised, is when he came back in the game, he was looking to pass. He was looking to screen. He wasn't demanding the ball. The only time he ISO'd was when Doc Rivers called him an ISO. And the one time he did ISO before that, he passed it out, and then Harden got a mid-range shot. I fully believe Embiid is willing to take a back seat. I just think he has to be told, and I think he has to be held accountable. And here's the thing, he can still ISO, of course, when he has it going, but it doesn't need to be our number one thing anymore. It doesn't have to be a predictable Embiid-led offense. And even when we had Jimmy Butler, I mean, Embiid was giving him the rock in the fourth quarter. So I think and even in the first half, I rewatched the game. He played a good first half. It was really only the third quarter where Embiid played horrible. He literally looked terrible, and a lot of that had to do, he's just not in good condition. And I was like, why is Doc Rivers riding him for the whole third quarter when he came off that whatever surgery they revealed today? Why are you riding Joel Embiid in a new scheme where they're switching everything? Why are you riding Embiid when he's out of shape for the whole third quarter? Of course he's going to look trash. He's not in game shape. And if Doc Rivers took him out, gave him a quick blow, I mean, you got Paul Reed and Montrezl Harrell, I think we win that game easily.
Well, I think if we would have left him on the bench, we might have won the game.
That's true too.
Because that's what I was saying. I was like, dude, let's just play Houston ball. Leave him on the bench. I mean, he's hurt. He's for 2 games now. He's been a negative. He's been, we've been better when he's on the bench. And people, by the way, are coming at me all the time now, like, oh, we're turning on Embiid now after 2 games. No, I'm just saying what I'm seeing in 2 games. I love Joel Embiid, and I know he's gonna get it back. I know he's gonna get his conditioning back. I know he's gonna get back into shape. But he these 2 games he's been a negative. And that was I was like, oh, they're gonna bring him back, but I didn't think they would bring him back. Harden would, still put the team on his back, and then it would come down to, what was it, 30 seconds left, and we ran a play for Embiid, and he threw it away, and we got lucky on the call, and then, I don't remember the sequence, but
dumb play.
yeah, I
Dumb play.
just don't get it because everything was running through Harden the entire fourth quarter, and it was going well. And that's a big topic right now. I even saw it on the screen today on ESPN without volume, but it just said, can MVP Harden and Joel Embiid coexist? And that's an interesting thing I think that the Sixers coaching staff has to figure out, because now you see how good James Harden is right now. You see that he's at a level where he can dominate and he can put a team on his back and he can lead. So what does the coaching staff have to do, you know what I mean, to get that out of James Harden, but also get the best out of Joel Embiid and also get the best out of Tyrese Maxey? I guess we didn't even get there yet, but what do you think? Do you think what's your answer to that question? Can MVP Harden and Joel Embiid coexist?
Yeah, Embiid just has to become more of a screener, like I said before the season. Like, it's very simple. We have the guard play now. Harden, he gets the same shots in the pick and roll as he does in the 4-out 1-in offense where they just post him up. He gets the same mid-range shots. So I don't understand why we have to make it predictable, because he's still getting the same shots out of the pick and roll. Like, what are we doing here? Of course, and what I would do is, like, if Joel Embiid keeps hitting those mid-range shots, then go to Embiid, then go to that offense, because Embiid is feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying completely abandon Embiid, but start out the game and run a Houston-style Harden offense along with Tyrese Maxey. And Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid should have a Seth Curry dribble handoff type game. Him and Seth Curry had a great dynamic. That's what they should work on with him and Maxey, because there's no reason why they can't do that, because Maxey's more of a threat to drive, and he can hit the mid-range now. He could hit the three. So I just think watching Embiid, he just doesn't seem to have trust in Tyrese Maxey. Like, he's willing to set screens for Harden. Like, that's clear to me. He always looks to set screens for Harden. Mm-hmm. But with Maxey, he does not. He barely looks to set screens for him.
That's interesting. You're right, though. Yeah, the Harden and Embiid pick and roll, and when Embiid pops to the elbow, he's always open when he catches it there. So that's clearly a better way to get him in the mid-range jumper than to run the high post ISO and have him face up and try to be 7-2 Kevin Durant and turn the ball over. Yeah, it just you're absolutely right, man. And it's like, are they gonna do that, or is Doc Rivers obsessed with this? Feed the ball to Joel. Like, in that final possession, why would you not do the same thing that got you there, which is give the ball to Harden, have Embiid set the screen? Like I say this all the time. This is not a complicated game. It's 5-on-5. Every NBA team runs the same 7 plays. 14 plays maybe. There's not that many. There's a couple styles of offense. It's not rocket science at all. You take the best players, you run the most effective plays, and they either win or they lose, but you can't go away from what's obvious. You take James Harden, you give him the ball, you run a screen with Joel, you let James decide, do I shoot it? Do I drive? Do I hit the floater? Do I do the same thing that brought him back 13-0? And Doc says, no. We're going to Joel one-on-one on Brook Lopez, who's been absolutely smoking him the whole night. He tried to dunk on him, and he stuffed him at the rim.
There was a timeout before that play, right?
Yeah.
See, that's why I don't blame Embiid for that, because it was a clear call from the coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And when Embiid came back in, there was one possession where they fed him the ball at the foul line. But other than that, he was just screening. He was playing his role that I like him to play. So I really think it's just Doc Rivers being like, oh, well, last year I won how many games with MVP Joel Embiid? So I think he's just in love with that offense. But what you got to realize, and what we've been saying is, I mean, this hero ball from Joel Embiid, it's great. It's fun to watch when he's got it going. but it has a limit, and that limit is the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think we're all coming to that realization that we didn't know James was going to look this good, but a lot of people were saying this offseason that you can't win a championship when your center's the number one option, and that's not a slight to Joel Embiid. That's just the fact that all a good defensive team has to do is throw a bunch of big athletic bodies at him because he's a center, and the game's over. It's in today's NBA, you absolutely have to be running the game from the perimeter. And yeah, I think with Harden at this level, I think that's exactly what should happen. Like moving forward in the season, is Harden should be number one. It should just be that way, and Embiid should be more of a center. And I love that you brought up the Jimmy Butler point because I didn't even think about that. And I kind of want to go back and watch some of those games because you're absolutely right. When Jimmy Butler was the dog here and the guy that had the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter, we weren't running. I don't think we were going heavy like Embiid ISO. We were just giving Jimmy Butler the ball and letting him create on the perimeter. Again, that was Brett Brown, who I think is not a good NBA coach overall, but I think had less of an ego than a Doc Rivers in a situation like that. So I don't know if Doc Rivers would have ran that the same way, but we'll
also, I mean, Tyrese Maxey, he's being guarded like he's just another guy. Like he should be the number one guy sometimes. Like they should just give him the rock because when Harden has the ball, sometimes they just pack the lane. So it kind of creates a stagnant offense. But with Maxey, when he was running the show in the second quarter, he was getting free lane after free lane. And in the second half, he had like one shot. So like you're just doing your offense a disservice by not featuring Maxey enough, considering he's being guarded by probably like the third worst defender on the team. Like he's not being guarded by one of the best perimeter defenders. He was being guarded by George Hill, and he was lighting him up when they gave him a chance. So like sometimes it's like even Stan Van Gundy, even though I hate that dude, terrible announcer, by the way. Like he was like, I don't understand why the Sixers don't give more on-ball responsibility to Maxey. It seems like every time he has the ball, something good happens. I was like, yeah, because other teams don't know how good he is. Like they're just game planning for Embiid and Harden.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to me. I would think that Tyrese Maxey so far, even though it's only been 2 games, I would think that he would have gotten a lot more open shots off of Harden. I remember the first 4 games that Harden played in Philly, Maxey was just feasting off of the defense flocking to James Harden. And I guess I'm just not really understanding why we're not seeing it like that right now, or is it just that we played 2 really good defensive teams? But yeah, it definitely makes sense that Maxey should be better with Harden on the floor. But what it's looked like so far is that Maxey doesn't really have a role when Harden and Embiid are on the floor. It's like he's just standing there, and then once in a while he'll decide to jack up a 3 or whatever. It just looks out of sync so far for me with Maxey. And speaking of that, people are because of that, people are saying Maxey should come off the bench. And first of all, number one, that's just not going to happen. I don't think Doc Rivers is going to do that. The media, I think, asked Doc Rivers about that last year, and he said, "No, I'm not bringing him off the bench. He's one of our best players. He's a great scorer. He's a starting NBA player. I'm not bringing him off the bench." So that's not going to happen anyway. What do you think about that? Would that be better for Tyrese Maxey and the team?
I mean, that's what the Warriors do with Jordan Poole, so it would kind of make sense because he would just get the second unit, and our bench unit scoring is terrible right now. But if you put Maxey in there, it's definitely going to improve. I think that is an option, but I feel like that's just letting Doc Rivers off the hook. It would improve our perimeter defense because Maxey kind of gets picked on because he's very small. But I don't know. I like Maxey's effort defensively. I think he gets picked on, but I think he gives a lot of effort. So I'm fine with it. I think the real thing is get Tobias out of the starting lineup. That's what I think that's the legit.
He's such a kink in the. He's such a damn kink in the hose, man. You can see it from space. It drives me nuts. I like the guy. He's a nice guy. He's a good scorer. He's a very solid NBA player, but in this system with these players, it just looks like he's just like a I don't know
Just
how to
get
explain
out.
it, man. He's like a knot in the rope. And it's just like everything's flowing, and then it's like Tobias is like, "Hey guys, my turn." And I'm like, okay, you made that one. And then there's going to be 2 in a row. He drives baseline, shoots a jumper off the side of the backboard or something. Like, yeah, I agree with that. But I don't think that's going to happen either, do you? Because first of all, his pace role, his pace status, and Doc Rivers loves Tobias Harris. He loved him since he was in LA, right? I don't know. Tobias said he checked his ego this season, but this past game I saw a couple times where somebody else was really getting on a roll and Tobias just took the ball and was like, all right, my turn. Like, we don't need you to do that. We just need you to feed off the other people. Be standing in the corner. Play defense. He plays good defense. He's been playing good defense for a couple years, I think.
Yeah, besides on that last play.
Yeah,
oh, my God. I was screaming, why are you overhelping?
Except for thinking Grayson Allen is, I don't know, some kind of driving threat to win a game, which, by the way, if we were up by 2. If he ties it, he ties it. You overhelp and give him a wide open 3 to win the damn game. But yeah, he's been good defensively outside of that. So yeah, just play defense and catch the ball and shoot it when you're open. Don't take the ball when we're in a rhythm and, dribble it 17 times. And I don't know. Yeah, I agree with the Tobias Harris take, but
it's not even that he's playing bad. It's just, like you said, he doesn't fit. Like, I would trade him for anything. There's no use for him. And let me just break it down. PJ Tucker, slow. James Harden, slow. Embiid, slow. Tobias Harris, slow. That's not good. Get him out. Put Daniel House. And Daniel House is way better for the offense because he's looking to pass. He's a willing screener. He doesn't want the ball. He just moves around, and James Harden has way more chemistry with Daniel House than Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
And he loves playing with Daniel House. You could tell because all Daniel House looks to do is when he gets the ball, if he's not open, he looks to the left of him and he's like, let's do a dribble handoff.
Yep.
I don't want the ball.
Right.
And on defense, he doesn't die on screens like Tobias. He's not slow on rotations like Tobias. And like I said, it's not even Tobias playing bad. It's just that Joel Embiid's slow, James Harden's slow, and PJ Tucker's slow. So you got to offset that with some speed with Maxey and Daniel House. Trade him for anything. I don't care. Trade him for Russell Westbrook and just cut Russell Westbrook. We don't need Tobias. What does he bring? Please, what does he bring?
I don't know. It's been like a general consensus, or like just an unwritten thing that everybody knows but won't say out loud, that we've just been kind of stuck with Tobias Harris for a couple seasons. It's like we know he doesn't really fit the offense. We know his role is kind of weird. We're trying to force him into this 4th option stretch 4 thing, because of his contract, they haven't been able to get anything of decent value offered in a trade, so they just keep hanging on to him, and it's probably because they're looking at the money and they're saying we got to at least get something in return, and nobody's offering anything because nobody's paying $34 million a year for a guy that's not an all-star. So yeah, I don't know, but do you we can say, this is what should happen. Do you expect that to happen? Like tomorrow against the Spurs, do you expect to see a different starting lineup? Or after just 2 games, they're not going to panic and change the starting lineup, right?
No, I don't expect that because it's Doc Rivers, and this is, I hate to bring it up, but this is why I believe Daryl Morey's overrated. If he was this, GM that everyone hypes up, like, he would clearly see, I got to get rid of Tobias. Tobias should have been gone. Like, he should be gone. It's not plain and simple. And everyone's going to say I'm a Tobias hater. I'm not hating. Like I said, he hasn't even played bad. He doesn't fit. And it's just a waste of a player on the court. We are trying to run a system with Harden. We want guys who don't want the ball. The fact that we had to run a play out of halftime because we have to get Tobias going No, we don't need that. You don't want that idea of like you don't want in the player's head Tobias wanting touches. You don't want that. It's contagious. It's not good for the team. I'm telling you, you want everyone's bought in. Even Tyrese Maxey is bought into it's James Harden and Joel Embiid's team. And I wish Tyrese Maxey had the Tobias Harris approach of wanting more ISO, because I really do.
Yeah.
But everyone else is bought in besides Tobias. And the reason I say that is because randomly, like the start of the third quarter yesterday, the first play was a post up for Tobias, blocked by Brook Lopez. Not even a bad play. He got fouled. Once again, he's not playing bad. It's just we don't need that.
Maybe don't try to dunk on Giannis. Maybe don't try to dunk on Brook Lopez. You never been much of a jumper for being a 6'8" athlete. Tobias isn't really known for dunking on anybody, so you probably shouldn't start that out with trying to dunk on Giannis Antetokounmpo. But yeah, no, he's not playing bad at all. He just doesn't fit. I completely agree. And yeah, Daniel House is the kind of player that you want to put around James Harden and Joel Embiid. You want to put a guy that keeps the ball moving, knows his role, and like you said, catches it if he's not open. He looks to either pass it or dribble handoff with someone else. He's not looking to face up and show somebody that I'm the man. Daniel House is not, I'm going to go triple threat, jab step, dribble left. He's not going to do that. The only time you see Daniel House dribble the ball is if there's a second and a half on the shot clock, and he absolutely has to. And he's made his entire career shooting threes off of James Harden assists. So, I think we'll see more out of Daniel House as the season goes on. I know the first game he only put up 2 points in like 20 minutes or something like that, and everyone was like, Daniel House sucks. But yeah, I think his style fits around Joel and James better than Tobias does, and I don't know, man. I don't know if we're ever gonna see that change until Tobias's contract is up, which is what, next season is the last year of his contract, which means he's very tradable this offseason, right?
Just sit him down for the year. Have a Ben Simmons situation. I'm telling you, we don't need him. He doesn't bring what we need. Like, Daniel House is going to come in. He's going to play hard defense every possession. And he's smarter. He gets through screens better. And have you ever seen Tobias Harris, set up Tyrese Maxey or set up D'Anthony Melton?
I've never seen Tobias Harris pass a basketball in my life.
Because he takes like 2 seconds. Like, there was a play where Daniel House did a pump fake and he dribbled and he made a quick pass. And I was like, that was just way quicker than anything Tobias does. Like, if Tobias did that same play, the defense would have rotated back. There would have been no driving lane. And then the offense is stagnant again. It's little things like that make the Sixers offense so stagnant.
So go ahead.
And it's unfair because, the reason I'm so hard on Tobias is because I'm not going to pick him over James Harden and Joel Embiid. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm not going to pick him over James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey.
The first game, the possessions went James, I'm pretty sure. And literally like the fourth or fifth play of the game was Tobias Harris with a pick and roll with Joel Embiid. And I'm like, how in the world did we land on a Tobias Harris pick and roll out of all of our other options at the beginning of the season, this fifth play of the year? It drives me nuts too. But
and there was a play where Tobias drove and he turned it over off his leg, and PJ Tucker was like, "What are you doing?" Because PJ Tucker, all he does is sit in the corner. Yeah, he doesn't want to do nothing.
He wants to sit there and do his little like bow and arrow corner three, man.
His defense was so nice yesterday.
Yeah, he's great for this team, man. He's great for this team. Jordan Pollard, thank you for the super chat, man. Thanks for hanging out. Please rally the fan base to combat the mainstream media narrative that has been trying to slander Hard in the last 2 games. Stephen A, Jalen Rose, and Greeny are bugging. I don't watch them. I just don't. I straight up don't watch them. Sometimes I do. If I'm really extra bored, maybe I should once in a while just to catch up and listen to what these goofballs are saying, but I really don't watch them, so I didn't even know there was a mainstream media narrative that's been trying to slander James Harden the last 2 games. I know ESPN put out a stat on Twitter Like James had an amazing opening night, 35, 9, and 7, or 7 and 9, I forget. But all ESPN puts out is James Harden dribbled the ball 525 times last night, and the rest of the team dribbled the ball 430 combined. And I was like, oh, really? No shit. The one of the best point guards in the game, a 9-time All-Star, MVP, is back in shape, is back in his prime, can drop 35 in a game, is known to control a game by running pick and rolls in a heavy ISO game. Oh, he dribbled the ball more than everyone? Wow, what a shock. I don't understand what that even means. And some people, even after last night, are saying James needs to give the ball to this guy more and give the ball to this guy more and be more of a... What are you talking about? He's literally looked unstoppable so far. And people are coming with some kind of negative angle. And it doesn't make sense to me. James is not the issue. He's playing at an elite level right now in just 2 games. I don't know if he'll continue that the whole season, but you have to ride that, obviously, I think.
Yeah. I mean, James Harden's been our best player through 2 games. So the only person I would say maybe give the ball up to is Tyrese Maxey. But even then, I think Maxey has proven as an off-ball player he can be effective. I think it's just up to Doc for calling stuff. And in the first 2 games, Joel Embiid in the first game, he led the bench unit in the first half. And then this game, James Harden led the bench unit. Why not just let Tyrese Maxey lead it and then have Joel and James in at the same time all the time? Have Tyrese and Shake Milton or Tyrese and D'Anthony Melton run it.
Yeah, we'll talk about the bench rotations too, because this is a good transition. Romp was late because he went on a date with Ferk. Those superheroes joke. Before you, Rue. But thanks for the super chat. So, and what have you thought of the bench rotation so far? Because I knew we would see less of Shake Milton, Furkan Korkmaz, Matisse Thybulle with the signings that we made this offseason, but I didn't think we would see none of them at all. I know D'Anthony Melton had a good game last night. The first game he was like 1 for 9. I don't know. Like, the bench rotation's interesting to me. Doc's not really experimenting too much. He basically thinks he has this golden lineup set in stone. He played only 9 players in the first 2 games. And then the second game he decides, or somebody else decides, that Paul Reed comes off the bench before Montrezl Harrell. And I think that was a good move considering your opponent. Montrez stands absolutely no chance in that game against Giannis and Brook Lopez and anybody else that's a 7-footer that can score around the rim. Montrez is going to get smoked. I don't know if Paul Reed did much of a better job. Paul Reed only played 5 minutes in the game though too. So were we playing PJ at the 5 a lot?
That's what led the comeback.
That's what led the comeback, going small ball and PJ at the 5. Well, that makes me feel good though.
I think Doc is trying to kill PJ Tucker.
He had 40 minutes last night. He's like, you know what? He's like, neither of our 2 backup centers can guard any of these people. So PJ, you got to play 40 minutes.
Yeah, Joel Embiid had 31 minutes heading into the 4th quarter.
Wow.
I was like, and Giannis, I looked at Giannis. He had 26 minutes headed into the 4th quarter. I was like, dude, Joel Embiid was playing horrible. But a lot had to do with him just being gassed out of his mind. He was tripping over his foot. I was like, just take him out. Just take him out. It's not a big deal. You have Paul Reed and Montrezl Harrell, and they only get 8 minutes combined. It's the second game. I don't care if we lose. I really don't care if we lose. If this keeps up, right. And I hope it's just because we play the Spurs and the Pacers next, so Doc was probably like, oh, we should kill them. Knock on wood.
Should.
But still, I mean, is Paul Reed and Montrezl Harrell really that bad where they're not going to lose you that,
Yeah, I think, I think one of them, at least one of them, should have been given more than 5 minutes. Yeah, I agree with that. So let's do this. What do you think, out of all of the issues that we've seen in 2 games that I think both of us think can be worked out? What is the Sixers' biggest issue right now? If you had to pick one thing.
Tobias Harris.
No, that can't be the biggest issue.
It's not his fault. It's just I'm telling you, like I hope
Doc
there's
Rivers,
like a stretch.
Joel Embiid out of shape, something.
Yeah. Joel Embiid out of shape. Joel Embiid out of shape, number one. But I hope there's like a stretch in the regular season where Tobias Harris, he takes a couple of games off. I'm telling you, bro.
I hope there's a couple of games where Doc Rivers takes off because remember the Dan Burke games last year? Our team looked great. I think 4 Dan Burke games last year when Doc had COVID. I'm not praying that he gets COVID, but maybe he'll sprain an ankle or something. Maybe he'll stub his big toe and take a week off or something like that. I don't know.
No, I would say number one is Joel Embiid out of shape for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I guess that has to be the obvious answer. It has to be Joel Embiid out of shape. So they tell us today that Joel Embiid was dealing with plantar fasciitis. I don't know if I said that right. This offseason that hindered him from conditioning, and that's why he's out of shape right now. And I don't get it. Why would you go the entire offseason hyping this whole thing up? Like media day, all this stuff. Why would you lie? Like this was a lie. I'm not saying they lied because nobody said, "Hey, do you have plantar fasciitis?" So I guess it's technically not a lie, but not telling people that there's an issue and acting like this team is perfectly healthy, to me, is a lie. Because then the first 2 games come out and we're all blown away. Like, what the hell's wrong with Joel Embiid? And then you have to come out and say, oh, yeah, by the way, what? It's like selling someone a car and not telling them the alternator's bad. And then they drive it down the highway and it breaks down. They're like, what the hell? Oh, yeah, by the way, it's got a bad alternator. So, it's not going to really work. Like, I don't know. What do you think about this plantar fasciitis thing?
I mean, I'm just worried if Joel Embiid can even play the way I want him to play. Does he have the body to take hits from screens all game, work in the paint for offensive rebounds? Like, is he built for that, or is he just gonna, get hurt? That's the real question. It's just a shame because you could tell he's just pissed at his body. Like I feel sometimes when he falls, he's just like rubbing his leg. He's like, why me? Why me? Yeah. Like I think that's the biggest what if in NBA history. Like not only Derrick Rose getting injured, but like Joel Embiid, if he like had a body that could sustain like impact when he falls and stuff. Because he's never gotten a healthy postseason.
He's also always been, if you look at photos of him at Kansas, he was 245. And yeah, he was 18 years old. I'm not a professional athlete. I don't look anything close to what I looked like when I was 18 years old. I'm about 40 pounds heavier than I was when I was 18 years old. A lot of it is muscle, by the way. But yeah, do you think Joel Embiid could get back down to something like that and be healthier? Or because at 280 for a couple years now, actually, most of his NBA career, he's looked kind of dopic, big and slow, injury prone, falls over all the time. I didn't watch a lot of him at Kansas. I don't think he played a lot, actually, before he hurt his foot. But so I guess that didn't really help him, actually, because he hurt his foot anyway when he was 245. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Is there anything Joel Embiid can do to not be this hurt all the time player? And it sucks. We think going into this season, the one thing we need is a healthy Joel Embiid, and then we find out he was already hurt before the season started. It's just insane.
I guess go down in weight, but I don't. Is it even possible for his body type? I mean, he would go vegan, maybe. Eat plants only. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it would take cardio, which you can't do if you have plantar fasciitis. So that's the reason he's out of shape in the first place, because he couldn't run, apparently, that we didn't know about. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's depressing to think about. That Joel Embiid's always hurt. We come into this season, all right, he's going to be healthy. We're going to get to the playoffs. He's finally going to be healthy, and he was hurt while we were saying that.
Like I don't really mind him being not in game shape. I just want him healthy towards the end of the season. So maybe this is like, oh, he'll be peaking towards the end instead of the beginning. Maybe. But that's the thing. Like he had a good first half, and a lot of Harden's pick and rolls. Harden gets open stuff because Embiid is, he just causes attention. So no one's going to mention that stuff, but it does happen. Like if you look at Paul Reed's pick and rolls, there was nothing happening in the second quarter just because they don't care about Paul Reed. It's easy to guard when you don't have to worry about the other screener. The small ball lineup was very effective, but it was a lot of James Harden just hitting contested shots. So I think Embiid at least deserves some credit for getting Harden those floaters and things like that. I mean, it hasn't been all bad.
No, you're right.
Just like the third quarter yesterday was horrible, but the first half was really good. And then when he came back in the game, we didn't win, but it's not like we got cooked with him. And he missed there was a shot where they gave it to him, but I liked it, and he made a quick decision, and he pulled up. And whenever he does that little that move that he did, the pull up, you know what play I'm talking about?
In the fourth quarter, you're talking about?
Yeah, there was 50 seconds ago, and he pulled up in Brook Lopez's face, and you know how he dribbles, and then he does that that
Shoulder
little move.
Shimmy.
Yeah, he always hits that shot. Whenever he does that move, and I was like, all right, I'll take that because he made a quick decision. I hate when he just waits, and then shoots it. Just make a quick move. So I wasn't mad at that shot either. I was like, oh, he always makes that. He literally won us a playoff game in Toronto with the same type of gameplay, game style. So
he hit one.
I'm not tripping.
He hit one yesterday. He hit a step back three at with the shot clock running down, at the top of the key. So, it's one of those things. You don't want your center to be out there trying to be Steph Curry, but when he makes it, you're like, oh, okay. We'll take it. Romp is on crack. Joel got cooked.
I mean, in the first half, he was good. He had 15 points. Third quarter was just so bad. Yeah, and I blame Doc Rivers because Joel Embiid couldn't even make it up the court. And Doc was like, he just had 3 turnovers. Let me keep him in the game. What? I don't care if he's your best player. Just take him out. He's freaking on his knees. He just had the surgery you're talking about. Why is Doc trying to kill him?
Rasan. This is Rasan. Rasan says talking about he didn't have a problem with Joel's shot. He blew the game. Rasan, this is because you're saying this because you love James Harden, and I know you. I'm fine with you loving James Harden, but Joel Embiid didn't call the play. There was a timeout, and Doc said, down 2 or down 1, we're going to Joel 1-on-1, and he's going to hit the game-winning shot. And
that wasn't even the play I'm talking about. He passed out of that one. It was a horrible pass.
Yeah, you're right. That was a 10 seconds.
I'm talking about a little before.
Left. Yeah. When there
was it was literally wide open, and people were complaining on Twitter, dude, he missed the shot. It is what it is. I'll take that every time. And James Harden, you could tell James Harden was tired too. I think that was a lot to do with because there was a moment where Harden was just standing at the top of the key. He was probably gassed out because he carried the team the whole third and fourth quarter.
He definitely carried, man. So, I know we're on Twitter a lot, and I know how Twitter is, man. The sky is falling. But I've been very positive going into this season, and we're 0-2, but I felt good at the fact that my biggest question this offseason was, is James Harden going to be back? Is James Harden going to be in shape? And he looks like he's back. He looks like he is at least at that level that he was at in Brooklyn when he was, second, third, fourth on the MVP list because he was playing without Kyrie and Durant, and he was dropping 40-point triple-doubles. And so, I think he's back to that, and that's a great thing for us. Now we just got to figure out, a bunch of other stuff. Something else we got to figure out. So, DeAnthony Melton and Shake Milton should Shake Milton be having no time on the court? Because I think I saw in the preseason, I remember them both getting, 15 minutes off the bench, and they were on the floor together in the preseason, from what I remember, in certain points, certain moments of games. And they're two different style of players, but they're two guards off the bench. I think they should both be used in certain situations. And I think instead of DeAnthony Melton having 20 minutes of his just straight up, shot chucking gameplay, which I don't hate. I love the fact that he just comes off the bench and is a bucket getter. But, Shake Milton's more methodical, more of a pick and roll guy, more strategical, but can control the game a little bit better. I think we should be using both of them.
Yeah, I agree. With our old folks home, in the starting unit, I would even play an all bench squad. I don't have a problem with playing an all bench squad. If it loses us games, it loses us games. It's the regular season. As long as we are in the play-in, I really don't care where we are seeding wise. All I care about is if Embiid's healthy, Harden's healthy, and PJ Tucker's healthy, and Tobias is gone at the trade deadline. Other than that, we're going to win games just because Embiid's going to dominate tomorrow probably because who's going to stop him on the Spurs? Who's going to stop Harden? And then the bench is going to do well because the bench is as good as the Spurs starters.
You know who I'm giving credit to for James Harden? JD Tag, Harden shot more mid-ranges in one game than damn near his whole career in Houston. I'm giving credit to Sam Cassell because I remember just the one video that we saw of them in the summer in practice working on it. Or at the end of last season, I think they were working on it. I don't remember. But I think they were working on it, and I think he's been drilling it into James's head. Like, look, man, you're either a three-point shooter or you're trying to go all the way to the rim. And he probably watched a lot of film, and paused the video and said, look how much space you have right here. You know what I mean? You passed out of this right here. Look how much space you have. I know for a fact you can make this shot with your eyes closed. So just shoot the mid-range shot. And I think he's been focusing more on it, and he worked on it all offseason. Not that he couldn't ever shoot it before, but worked on, getting it to be a thing in his mind, like an instinctual thing to shoot that. I think Harden's absolutely lethal if he's triple threat. If he's three, you got to go out there and guard him. He can drive by you. You're guarding the rim now. He's hitting a mid-range shot. How do you stop him? So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot to mention I would also put some blame on Maxey because, like I said, a lot of times he just doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. Like, just take over. No one's gonna get mad at you for just taking an ISO. Mm-hmm. Like, there was times where he took a bad shot, and I was like, okay, I like that. It's cool. I'll live with it.
A young player that just comes to mind in the NBA that always had a green light, I feel like, and never cared about taking too many shots or deferring to someone else is Anthony Simons, I think, in Portland. I remember he dropped like 40 on the Sixers when he was 19. And he's always been like, I'm that guy. I get buckets. It's what I do. If I go 0 for 7, it's what I do.
Thank you for bringing that up because that's a perfect example. The first game for the Blazers, it was a close game. What really won it for them or kept them in it, didn't really win it. Chauncey Billups, you can tell he was like, yo, Anthony Simons, take over because Dame was on the bench. And he was like, dude, just run the show. Like he was telling him and stuff. And he ran the show and it got them the lead. And then Dame came back in and they won the game. But just having that trust in your young guys, I was like, can Doc Rivers, allow Tyrese to run the second unit? Does Joel and James really have to run it? Because it was literally Simons and Jeremy Grant and a bunch of bench guys. And he was just running the show, pick and rolls, ISOs. He was doing really well. And I was like, can Doc do that, please?
Yeah, I think they're going to work on getting him, more involved. I don't know why we would come out in 2 games and it looks like he's not involved at all. It's like, what did you guys do in training camp? What did you guys do all off season? It's weird. You know how good he is. You know what he looked like in the preseason. And yeah, it's the preseason. Everybody looked good in the preseason because nobody's really trying on defense. But you would think to start the season they would have had more of a planned role for Tyrese Maxey. But I hope they get one soon. I hope they get one soon. But yeah, it is partly him too. He has to just be aggressive. There's lots of times so far in these two games where he in the preseason he would have just taken the shot, and now he's like, oh, I got to get it back out here and see where's Harden at, where's Joel at, and he has to find where he fits, man.
Yeah, that's the thing with the whole team. Like even Joel, like just shoot the three. There was one time he had a three and the shot clock was running down and he tried to drive and it was turnover, easy, fast break bucket. If he just shot the three, he misses it, but we get back on defense and we probably stop them because we were stopping them all game. It's like little things like that. Like just, it doesn't matter. Every possession doesn't have to be a good shot. Just get a shot up so we're not, screwed in transition because we got slow poke Tobias. We got slow poke PJ Tucker. We're not a good transition team. Just get a shot out, please. No turnovers.
What Doc first said to him when he was a rookie is going to stay in my mind forever. He did say exactly what you said, the opposite of exactly what you just said, that every shot doesn't have to be a good shot. When he was a rookie, Doc Rivers literally told him every shot has to be a good shot. He didn't say that word for word. He didn't say that word for word. He said, I used to say this to Rondo. Every shot you take is a shot that Paul could have, is a shot that Ray could have, is a shot that Kevin could have. Why? He said every shot you take is a shot that James could have, is a shot that. Why would you ever say that to a young scorer like that? How does somebody that's supposed to know basketball for 75 years think that that's what you should say to that player? That's just insane to me. And Doc Rivers is insane. He just is. I told people, man, we had 4 months off. You guys forgot. He's going to remind you real fast. He's insane. He's nuts. He's losing his mind. He needs to retire. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, why is Doc making the comparison to Tyrese Maxey and Rondo when Tyrese Maxey is probably the fastest player in the league with the ball? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah, but so is there even a chance that they would, say they lose to the Spurs tomorrow? Say they start the season 0-10. Joel Embiid looks out of shape. Harden's still dropping 35-point triple-doubles. Maxey still looks like he doesn't know what to do on the offensive end. And they start 0-10. Does Doc Rivers get fired on the spot?
I hope so. But Daryl Morey seems to love him based on his interviews I've seen. Like he's always trying to give him credit.
I mean,
and a lot of people say Sam Cassell, but like Sam Cassell and Doc Rivers are like a package deal, I feel like. So I don't think we're gonna fire Doc and promote Sam. They're like butt buddies. It seems they go where each other go.
I think that Sam interviewed for a head coaching position this offseason.
Really?
Yeah, he had an interview for a head coaching position, and I remember I made like a 1-minute video just basically like screaming like, please don't let Sam Cassell go take a head coaching job. We lost, who did we lose, man? We lost Monty Williams to Brett Brown. We lost Ime Udoka to Brett Brown. We had a chance to try to get Chauncey Billups, I'm pretty sure, before we got Doc Rivers. We had a chance to try to get Jason Kidd. We had a chance, all of these young-ish, for an NBA coach, young players who played guard in the close to modern NBA, late 90s, early 2000s. Coaches that can really relate to today's game the best. We passed up for a guy that hasn't played basketball since 1965. It blows my mind. But I think Sam wants to be a head coach, and I think it's going to be here. It's just we're going to throw a parade when it happens because it's a weird thing, really, when you think about it, because everybody in the city, nobody wants Doc Rivers. I don't know anybody that does. I think it's like it's weird to me. I don't remember a point in this city where a coach was hated by the entire city, but they all also knew that he wasn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I hope Sam Cassell takes over, but it's not going to happen. He's gonna get a whole year, and we'll probably get busted in the second round, like always. I'm not predicting them to beat anyone in the second round. Like it's to the point where they got to prove it. So no matter who we play, if we play the New York Knicks, I'm still picking the Knicks in the second round. As that's where I'm at with our second round debacle and Doc Rivers.
Yeah. Would you take Steve Nash? Is Steve Nash really that bad of a
No,
coach?
no, that dude's terrible. That dude's worse than Doc.
Is he really? Or is it just, does he have a team issue? That's
Yeah,
not a good roster.
I mean, I just think he has no control, probably.
Yeah, that's a problem. When you sign Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, trade 7 first-round draft picks for James Harden, 5 and 2 pick swaps, and then you hire an inexperienced head coach, he's going to come in and be the nice guy. He's going to come in and be the enabler, and that's exactly what it was. And he gave way to, Kyrie said they feel like they are the coaches. I feel like we're all the coach. He said that like that. He said that like that was supposed to be a good thing. Nothing has ever worked. No system has ever worked where the employees think they're also the boss. Like that's why every business has a manager, an assistant manager, and then the people like that's obvious that's not gonna work. So yeah, and then Ben goes there and he does exactly what Doc Rivers did and tells him he doesn't have to shoot the ball, which, bro, that hasn't worked for 6 years. You got to try something different. You're going to try the same thing. So that's not working either. I think Steve Nash, I think he can be a good coach. I just think he got caught in a shitty situation and he's like trying to be the nice guy. And that's backfiring on him. Yeah, pushover. Exactly.
Can we just remind people like what the talk was before the season with our roster of how it was the most talented roster yet? And then we get this on the court. And we have no bench, even though we have the deepest roster we've ever had, supposedly. I think some of that blame should go on the head coach. And that's the funny thing. Like, I remember everybody was like, oh, well, they lost 2 games against the Heat because Joel Embiid was out. And I was like, dude, we had a chance to win that game. We had a chance to win game 1. We were tied at halftime. And Doc Rivers runs a stupid lineup that was not working, and he never went back to the lineup that was working. Like, you think Eric Spoelstra, if he didn't have Jimmy Butler for one game, he probably would have it probably would have been a close game knowing Eric Spoelstra and the Heats. Somehow they always get a white shooter out of nowhere from D3. Like, it's just like little games like that where it's like Doc Rivers stinks. And the Hawks series that everyone forgets about. Also, they forget about Tobias Harris being terrible in that series. But
yeah, I'll never forget, man. Maxey saves Game 5. Shake Milton saves Game 6. And because you came to the realization that we all knew that Ben Simmons isn't a point guard, but it always took getting to the playoffs, playing real defenses and real strategy for coaches to be like, oh shit, this guy can't play point guard. I'm sitting here in my attic in Hershey, PA. I've been telling you this for 3 years. He can't play point guard. Anyway, you find out in the middle of a playoff series, so you got to improvise, and you go Maxey. He wins Game 5. Shake wins Game 6, and then he says, Game 7, George Hill. George Hill, the guy that we signed that does not have a role in this team whatsoever, is going to be our backup point guard, and we're not going to play the guys that just – it's insane. There's so many insane things that he's done. It's really wild. And
it's also insane. I know I've been harping on Tobias a lot, but like we're asking Tobias to do, like think about what we're asking Tobias to do. All we want him to do is shoot 3-pointers and play defense. Why is he here if we're asking him to do that? Why?
I don't know.
Considering his game is not to be a scrappy defender who's going to play hard. He doesn't have a high motor like a Patrick Beverly type or D'Anthony Melton type. So why is he still here? Why is this not addressed? Like, this is just common sense. And that's what's holding us back. Things like that. Like, why is Doc Rivers still here? Just money makes no sense.
Josh Harris is an idiot. That's exactly why Doc Rivers is still here, because Josh Harris is a moron.
True.
Josh Harris he finally realized, okay, Brett Brown just doesn't have, the guy didn't even go on to like interview for another NBA head coaching job. Brett Brown was not an NBA head coach. Josh Harris finally accepts that. They fire him, and he says, "Oh, Doc Rivers is available. I got to go sign him to a 5-year contract." What? You're not going to even do any research on maybe why he was just fired, maybe why he was traded from the team that he won a championship with. He was traded from Boston. He was fired in Orlando. He was fired in LA. You're not going to do any research on why maybe he was fired. You're just going to go give him a 5-year contract. And now they owe him too much money to fire him. We're screwed. Sell the team. We're back. We're back to we're back
well,
to
this. Can't we start a GoFundMe to just eat the money? I don't care. But they care. That's the problem.
Josh Harris he's not a basketball guy at all. He's a money guy. He wants to make more money. Here's what they want to do. Guys like Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban's a money guy too. He's not an idiot. But he's a basketball fan. He wants to win. You find owners like that, not that the Mavs have been good since 2011, but you find guys like that, and I think you're in better hands. You get these owners that are just money people. They don't care about basketball. All they want is they don't care if you win a champion. What does an owner get if you win a championship? It doesn't matter to him. He wants his team to just be good enough so the fans have all of this spirit and rah, rah, rah when the playoffs come around, so he can jack the ticket prices to the ceiling, make a fortune, and then next season do it all over again. That's all it is to an owner. So Josh Harris is not going to make the right decision. That's the problem with sports, is that the owner has decision-making like things, and they don't make the right decisions because they're not basketball people. They're just money people. It's weird. It's like a restaurant owner, going into the restaurant and starts trying to help and do things. You're like, bro, just get out. You're making it worse. You're making everything worse. Just go count your money and leave us alone. We're the restaurant people. I don't know.
So you're saying we're screwed?
I don't see Josh Harris taking a hit to get rid of Doc Rivers unless the city revolts, unless the city riots. And
they probably would if it was another playoff debacle.
Man, why aren't you offering any solution instead of Tobias hate? Well, we said a bunch of solutions, but it's not going to happen.
I explained why my hate for Tobias. Because he doesn't do what needs to be done.
The solution is to trade Tobias. There you go, Chris. The solution is to trade Tobias.
The solution is don't play him. I don't even care if he. Let me repeat. We are asking Tobias to shoot threes and play defense. He's slow. He's a ball stopper. Why would we want him in that role? It does not make sense. Roy, he never screens for Harden.
Roy, to be fair, you came into the stream at 1 hour and 8 minutes. We gave a bunch of solutions, so go ahead and be sure to watch it back.
I could keep going on about
catch all the solutions.
Tobias could have 20 points tomorrow. I would not change my opinion because I could get that from Daniel House.
All right, so anyway, man, look, it was good to catch up with you, Romp. We'll see what the Sixers do tomorrow against the Spurs. I'm going to go watch the rest of the Phillies game, which, as we said before we came on here, that it's nice to watch because we had no expectations. So you're watching a team play a game that you generally don't care about the outcome because they weren't supposed to be there in the first place. Feels really good to watch a sport in that situation. That's like if the Washington Wizards snuck into the playoffs and ended up in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Someone said Tobias was locked down in the playoffs. Good job. He stopped Pascal Siakam, who only shoots mid-range shots. And then against Jimmy Butler, towards the end of the series, he was getting cooked.
He avoided Pascal elbow though. He avoided getting elbowed in the face.
True. That ruined the season.
Ratchy boy, I didn't mean to skip your comment. Shake trash too. Look at him. Look at his shot. I'm tired of us sparing these garbage overseas players. Is Shake an overseas player?
Shake hasn't even played a minute.
Anyway, what did Shake do? Why are you mad at Shake? He hasn't even been on the floor.
That's crazy. That's worse than my Tobias hate, to be honest.
He's hating the guy that didn't even play yet.
That's funny.
I think Shake should get some run on this team a little bit. I know I hate his shot too. I don't know what's wrong with his shot. It used to be better, but Lou Dort would be a better fit than Tobias. Well, absolutely. I mean, that dude has offense. He's a defensive pit bull. Is another guy that's not looking to be a ball hog or yeah. I agree with that. Oh, he belongs overseas. All right. Fair enough. I don't know. Has Isaiah Joe got a minute on the Thunder in the first
That's a
game?
good question. Imagine you like 30 points.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Let's see. Okay, I got the box score up. Isaiah Joe 0-0-0-0-0-0. He didn't play, but I mean, he just got there. To be fair,
I don't think Isaiah Joe's an NBA player.
Yeah, I mean, I think he will be fine for like a nice 5 minutes, but if he got consistent play, I think his flaws would be shown.
So who's your favorite team right now to watch outside of the Sixers? Obviously, not that the Sixers are even your favorite team to watch right now, but what's your favorite team to watch right now?
I was enjoying the Kings.
I didn't watch the Kings at all. I didn't watch the Kings at all yet.
I like the Pelicans a lot too.
Yeah, I was watching the Pelicans. They're fun to watch.
But I like how De'Aaron Fox plays. Like, he plays really fast. He's like he's not like a superstar, but he's just entertaining to watch because he plays super, super fast. So that's why I like the Kings. And I like their new coach, Mike Brown, because he's from the Warriors, and I think he'll actually help them in terms of winning. And I like Sabonis, but he's kind of trash, not gonna lie. He's overrated.
Sabonis is definitely overrated. I couldn't believe they made that trade. If you're gonna trade a 21-year-old like future star point guard, like Halliburton, it better be somebody better than Sabonis. I don't understand it.
You know what Tobias Harris is?
What?
He's our Julius Randle.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Like, Julius Randle is probably their best player, but when he's on the court, he just doesn't fit, and it ruins the offense. Like, Julius Randle put up 22 in his debut, but it's like, dude, stop dribbling so much. Please, give it to Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I know. I said that. I watched a decent amount of Knicks games last season, and I watch Knicks fan TV too sometimes just to listen to these guys rant about the Knicks. And yeah, Julius Randle's just that guy. I call him left-handed Russell Westbrook. He's like in a one-on-one, he's a good basketball player, but on a 5-man team, he's just gonna kill you. He's just gonna shoot you out of games. His stat line will look okay at the end of the game, but really, like, in the fourth quarter when somebody's rolling, he takes the ball. He wants the game-winning shot. It's just, I would never want Julius Randle on my team. Yeah, the Pelicans were fun to watch. I didn't see what they did tonight. They're up on the Hornets right now, but Brandon Ingram, Zion, and then you add C.J. McCollum, man, and they got Valanciunas. That's gonna be a good team.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, Zion, he's incredible. Hopefully he can stay healthy, but it's going to be tough with his body. But I mean, that's the thing. He's like Giannis. He doesn't need a shot because he's just going to keep driving, and you can't stop him because he's relentless.
Randall's better than Russ
Brandon Ingram.
Randall's better than Russ right now. I agree with you on that. Russell Westbrook had 2 points last night in 27 minutes on 0 for 11 from the field, bro. He just keeps getting worse.
Let me put it this way. Like, Tobias, Randall, and Russell, they're all good players, but they're stuck where they have to be like the number 1 or number 2 option because of their play style. So that makes Daniel House, even though Daniel House is not as good as Tobias, he's more valuable to the Sixers because he just plays his role. That's why Russ is probably going to be out of the league soon, because he can't play any other way unless he's handling the ball the whole time. Same with Julius Randle.
I agree with that. All right, man. Yo, thanks for coming through, Romp. Thanks for coming through, everybody.
No problem.
Hit the like button on the stream. Appreciate you all. Go Phillies. I'm going to go watch the rest of the Phillies game and flip back and forth between some NBA League Pass games. If you guys, if you guys didn't take advantage of my 3 free months of League Pass offer I was giving you the past couple days, now you got to pay $15 a month for it.